And we are live. Welcome to episode 9 of BAM Connections Live. Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I'm very excited for you guys to meet my guest, Talon Crist. We've known each other for, 28 years now. And she has an incredible story. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit, a little bio about what she wrote, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it. If you are interested in commenting, please go to streamyard.com/Facebook to make your comments so that we can know who you are. Otherwise, we'll see that you commented, but we won't know who it is. So please be sure to do that. And thank you, Cindy Lee, for always preparing a great show for us and being in the background. So let me go ahead and introduce Talon, read what she wrote. Okay, so Talon wrote, I'm a 21-year-old young woman that has been battling chronic illnesses for more than half my life. At 11 years old, I was diagnosed with ITP and has since acquired multiple other diagnoses. My chronic pain has come with depression, anxiety, and bipolar, as well as difficult decisions regarding my own body. My candidness, along with desire to inspire others, is truly remarkable considering the difficult and ever-changing condition of a chronically ill body. I am open, honest, and proud of my journey and continually look for positivity and ways to help myself and others. A few of my diagnosed conditions include ITP, von Willebrand's disease, endometriosis, lupus, chronic costochondritis. Did I say that right?
Costochondritis.
Chondritis, fibromyalgia, POTS syndrome, vaginism, bipolar, and hypothyroidism. These are just a few, but are not holding me back from being my best self. My dream is to be an author and to help my mom and sister open a nutrition shop in my hometown of Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Oh my God, Talon, I absolutely, you inspire me daily. Okay. I mean, there are so many people that complain about the smallest things, and you have all of these different issues. And you just, like you said, as you get older, sometimes you're getting even more, and you remain to always stay positive and upbeat. You inspire others. I've been watching your journey all throughout the years. And so let's talk a little bit about how it started, and a little bit about how your family deals with it and all of that. So why don't you start talking about, because I remember when you were a little girl, like I was saying, I remember your mom saying that you had these little issues. And anyway, so why don't you tell your story?
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored. So my story goes back to when I was 11 years old and I got a 4.5 hour long bloody nose. That's what started it all. And little did I know that I did not have enough platelets. Platelets are what make your body heal, and I didn't have enough of them. So that was just the beginning of my journey, and it led to treatments and medications and infusions and just about everything in between. And with the connection of ITP, it's an autoimmune disease. It's easy to get other autoimmune diseases once you have one. So as I've said in the statement,
what does ITP stand for?
It stands for immune thrombocytopenia purpura. It's a big one. So we just shorten it to ITP.
Okay.
But I've gotten other conditions such as lupus, which is more commonly known, which is also an autoimmune disease. And they kind of just correlate together to give me a world of symptoms. And it's hard to know which one's from what. And the older I get, like growing up with ITP, it made things like a menstrual cycle very difficult for me because I knew it was going to be irregular and we weren't sure what irregular meant. And eventually I found out I had von Willebrand's disease, which is basically the same thing, but I don't have enough of that protein. It's called von Willebrand's protein, and that is particularly for bleeding. That just means that once I bleed, it doesn't stop. So being a woman, being on your period, I was bleeding for 9 months straight, watermelon-sized clots
Oh
all the
my
time.
God.
And that comes with, fatigue and headaches and cramps. And because of the heavy bleeding, which I found out later ended up being endometriosis, was how bad the pain was. But I didn't know because it was just so irregular and uncommon. We didn't know how to address it. So eventually I was diagnosed with endometriosis, which is basically kind of like a fungus that grows on the inside of your stomach lining and your bowels and your uterus, and it affects the nerves. And it doesn't matter how much you have, it can hit one nerve and just cause you a world of pain. I had multiple surgeries for it and actually ended up having a hysterectomy last year and found out I had something called adenomyosis, which means that the lining of my uterus basically just didn't exist because I had bled so much over the years, it had just
Oh my God.
disintegrated. So over the years, I've learned to adjust and really just take things one step at a time because, like I said, the older I get, I've gotten more conditions, and I've gotten diagnosed with something called POT syndrome as well,
Tell
which
me about
basically
that.
means that when you sit down to when you stand up, a normal person's heart rate changes about 10-15 beats per minute. Mine goes to 30 or 40. So immediately I can just pass out. I can be so sick. I'll puke. It's just totally random. So my body, I have to do things a little bit slower, have to take my time. I get infusions once a week, just to help with hydration because my body just is constantly just not hydrated enough. And I have IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, which is also very common. So my stomach just does not really know how to process foods. I've had my appendix, my uterus, and my gallbladder removed. So
Oh
my
my.
body is basically learning how to do everything on its own. And with a world of medications, I'm going to be 22 in December, and that's almost, I'd say, 10, 11 years of medications and treatments that my body has just learned to be accustomed to and just figure out what works for me. And I'm once in a lifetime, I'm usually the guinea pig, but I'm grateful because right now I'm on a combination of medications and treatments and doctors helping me figure out what works for me right now, which I'm super grateful for. But in the past, I can definitely say that I wasn't always so lucky, and I've had a hard time, trying to get the right treatments for what I need.
Okay, so my question is, are any of these genetic? I mean, you have a pretty healthy family, right? I mean, you don't have anybody else in your family that has these conditions, and are you able? I mean, like, I don't, do they understand where this is coming from? And is it common if you have one of them to have some of the other ones as well? Do they accompany each other, or how
Right.
does it work?
So I am limited edition. No one in my family has anything. I joked with my therapist last week and said my brother got his first cavity, and that was like, oh my gosh, because no one in my family has any conditions, so they can't really relate. But as far as like genetic wise, I can't have a baby. I had a hysterectomy, so passing
Right.
that down, it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter to me because I can't have a baby anyways. I've always wanted to adopt, so it's not that big of a deal. But genetically, if I didn't have a hysterectomy or could have kids, it's very possible. Endometriosis, ITP, lupus, any of the autoimmune diseases are easily passed down. How I ended up with all of them, I have absolutely no idea. I guess I'm just lucky. Someday I will win the lottery, but no, my family is very healthy and they take good care of themselves and are lucky to not have any kind of mental or physical disabilities.
So let's say in a 3-month period, how many times would you say you are either at the hospital or having some kind of a procedure or some kind, and most importantly, how do you stay positive and optimistic through it all?
So honestly, the 3-month question, it's so difficult because I live day to day, hour by hour. I don't know. It changes all the time. I go to infusions once or twice a week. I live at the doctor's. I'm constantly at appointments or on the phone. So that makes up most of my time. But staying positive has become easier as I've grown up because I've been introduced to things and people that have just helped me, just tools that when I was younger, I didn't understand and didn't appreciate, such as reading or podcasts or, exercise, things that when you're a teenager, you're just like, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to be forced to read a book. And now that I'm older and I have the tools and I'm capable of knowing that how I feel is in my hands. I can't
Mhm.
control the inside of my body, but I can control my mind and how I deal with it. I mean, that's a lot of power knowing that I have that. And if I let my mind go and just start focusing on all the negative things, which I have done before, I've wallowed in self pity and why me, why me. But instead of asking why me, I just, realize that the universe is doing this for me, not to me. And when you just change the perspective, it really just makes all the tools around me not feel like tools. It just feels like, okay, I'm going to read my book because this is what I like to do. It makes me feel good. I'm going to go to the gym because I like the way I feel afterward, just doing things that really improve the way I feel mentally and physically.
I think a lot of people need to hear that because, as I always say, it's like the one choice you have to make is, how you handle these situations. I mean, you know, I look at people who, like I said earlier, like they'll complain about the smallest things and, or they'll dwell on it. And the more I believe that you dwell on things, the universe kind of hears you, that's
Exactly.
kind of
You're
the way I feel.
manifesting. You are, yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying that I've always been this positive, and
Yeah,
even some days now, I have my days where I'm like, nope,
of
I'm just going to be
course.
mad today. I'm going to be sad, and it is what it is. But knowing that I've grown so much and seeing myself over the years and how much my mindset has changed, I just think about like how miserable that time of my life was and being a teenager and just feeling like, oh, why me? And just that concept so many people have for, like you said, the littlest things. And it just can change your whole life and make everything so negative. So instead of saying why me, I just think, I'm so grateful. Like this was for me. I was chosen for this, and no one else could do it better than me. No one else is going to handle it better than me. And for that, I'm just super grateful.
God, you are just so strong and so, you just always see the good in everything, and that is just such a unique, awesome trait. So tell us a little bit about your new business, and also for all of you guys, go to instagram.com/, excuse nutrition. Is that right?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I'm very, very anxious to hear about your new business that you guys are trying to launch.
Thank you. So because of my health, I've had family friends that have worked with Herbalife products for a long time and tried to push it on me. And I was just like, when someone's forcing you, it doesn't sound like fun. And this year we got into the products. Our family friend in Reno, Nevada opened up a shop called The Mix, and they serve shakes and teas and protein donuts. And my mom's sister and I went and visited and fell in love. We're like, okay, we need to do this. We want to do this. And we started taking the products at home. And because of my health, it was amazing just watching the results of how I felt. I was puking less, I was sleeping more, I was just feeling so much better. So taking the products were easy. And the next step was just, how can we do this? So right now, my mom's sister and I are looking to find a space in Highlands Ranch, Colorado, and hopefully be open in the fall. But it is shakes and teas that have all good caffeine in them. There, you don't get the crash. You get multiple vitamins and minerals in your system. You feel good. You look good, and the results. I mean, for myself, health wise, are just phenomenal. But watching, my family who, like I said, have no health concerns, they feel phenomenal too. And so we just want to share that and share positivity. And we came up with the name Excuse because, I mean, realistically, we just ask ourselves every day, what's your excuse, for anything? What's your excuse to not go to the gym? What's your excuse to be negative, And then when we give people a drink, we're going to say, what's your excuse, like, what's your favorite drink? So it's kind of a play on words, but just definitely hits home for us. Like, it took me so long to just sit down and drink a shake. That's all my mom wanted me to do for years. And once I finally got into it, it was just like, why wouldn't I do this? Why wouldn't I want to feel good and take care of my body, especially my body when it's going through so much?
Absolutely. This is so awesome. I see that Marlene has been on here and commenting, and Melissa, thank you guys for your comments. Cindy Lee, I know that you have a couple family members and friends watching as well. So before we close out, what words of wisdom would you have to say or tell people who are suffering or who find out that they have some kind of a chronic illness that they will have for the rest of their lives? And what would you tell them?
I'd say three things. So first off, gratitude. Gratitude always. Wake up with gratitude, go to bed with gratitude. The second one is perspective. Yes, it could always be better, but it could always be worse. And those two things have helped me immensely. And the last thing would just be to use your voice. It's taken me a long time to become an advocate for myself, and that comes with anything and everyone. That comes, with sitting with the doctor and saying, I don't feel good and I don't like the treatment plan you're giving me. It goes to that, or it comes to a relationship that might be toxic, or a family friend, or whatever it is, but using your voice and feeling confident and knowing that whatever you choose for yourself is right and you can't be wrong, because as long as you are happy and you're using your own voice, that is enough. And that is definitely what I would love to share with everybody, because those three things have just changed my whole life and changed my perspective on life.
That's amazing. One other question. Now, I mean, it's the holidays right now, and it can be a very, very, very difficult time for many. So if there are family members out there who have kids that are suffering, or family members that are suffering, especially during this time of the year, do you have any advice or words of wisdom for them?
Yeah. So I definitely, first off, much respect, because I think even harder than being the patient is being the caregiver, because it's horrible to watch someone you love hurting. So really during these times, I just say, be together, just be there, just show up. It doesn't have to be, what can I do for you? And, how are you feeling? And asking someone every day how they're feeling is honestly not the best thing you could do. But being there is enough. Just sitting with someone, just saying, hey, I know you're not feeling good. Do you want to watch a movie? Or, do you want to go to the mall? Do you want to whatever? Just be with them. Just let them know that they are loved fully themselves. And that is a perfect dynamic for them, for you, and just keeps the relationship so strong, even during a very difficult time, especially with health problems.
Yeah. I mean, as a parent, nothing is more worse than seeing your child suffer, and so it's very hard for the parent and for the loved ones. And so this has been an incredible show. I appreciate you so much. I'm really glad that we reconnected, and I want to stay in your life more, and stay on your journey and help you grow your business and all of that.
Yes, vice versa. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to you, and thank you to everyone who's helped set up your show, and you inspire me. And someday I hope to have my own podcast to help inspire people like you do. So thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor.
Absolutely. And Cindy Lee, once again, thank you for your help. For those of you who are an entrepreneur, you're welcome to come tomorrow to bamzoomroom.com and come and network with us. It's an hour of fun networking and breakout rooms and all of that. So that's tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific. And with that, Cindy, let's go ahead and close out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Talon. Hang on one sec.